everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maggie. Today I've got a project pan update for you. So this year I'm doing a rolling style project 10 pan. I do have a pretty small makeup collection, but I'm still able to project pan. I've got a lot of goals to hit pan on products to finish some up, and also just usage goals. So using things, 20, 30 times before rolling them out. So today I have 3 items that are going to roll out of the project, which is very exciting. I like to start with the items that have been in the project the longest and then work to the ones that I most recently put in. I do have a little cheat sheet here for notes. I track my usage on every product, like how many times I used it in the past month. So I just want to be able to reference those numbers as we go along. So let's go ahead and begin with the items that I've brought in and have been in. They're kind of my long haul items that I chose in January. So the first 2 are both powder products. The first one here is the e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer. I am working on finishing this up. So here is what it currently looks like. I will try to put a side-by-side comparison in for you to see the difference. So this bronzer already had pan in it when I started the project pan, and it's pretty far down on the side as far as like side pan goes. I ended up using the bronzer 11 times in the last month for a total of 51 uses. Since the beginning of the year, it's really the only bronzer I'm reaching for. And when I do my bronzer, I'm kind of sloppy with it. I just slop it all over my face. But this is definitely kind of like the go-to. So yeah, still chugging away. Hopefully the pan has expanded. I really haven't looked at side-by-side comparisons yet. So that should be fun and exciting to see. But this is kind of one that I don't have a problem with using every day. It doesn't bore me necessarily like bronzer. It's kind of one of those utility products, like I'm just going to use it and use it. So yeah, that is how the bronzer is going. The other powder product I put in that's kind of a long haul product is from this Hourglass Quad. So this is from December of 2020, I believe. I got this little quad, and I'm working on hitting pan on this powder shade here. This is what I'm using as an under eye powder. So my goal is to hit pan on it. I do have quite a dip. It's very flat in comparison to other powders. It's right here in this palette. So the dome is definitely gone, which is nice. If I kind of turn it this way, hopefully you can see that as well. Like I said, I use this under my eyes to set down my concealer. I'll also use it around my nose or just down the center of my face to add a little bit of brightness if needed. Let's see here. In the last month, I used it 9 times for a total of 36 uses so far this year. Definitely going to be in for a while, but it's really the only kind of under eye setting shade I have like this. So again, very easy for me to use every day. It doesn't feel like it's competing with other products. Okay, I have 2 lip products that I'm working on finishing up, both of them. So I have a lip liner and a lipstick. The lip liner is the Delilah Buff lip liner. I will use this to line my lips and fill them in. It's this really pretty neutral shade. I don't want to roll it all the way up because it's very thin and starting to kind of rattle around in there a little bit. I do have a tracker sheet here that I can share with you though. So let's see here. So this is where we're currently at with the progress. I have used the Delilah lip liner 8 times in the past month for a total of 36 uses so far this year. I really only use it like once a day. Whenever I'm doing my makeup, I'll put it on then, but I don't tend to reapply lip liner. But I do think that I'm making good progress. If you look at the sheet itself, I've used up kind of like half of it already, which is really encouraging. So this is one that'll be, in for another few months, I'm sure, but I do feel confident in how it's going, and I don't think it'll be a problem to finish it up this year. I also have a lipstick. So this is the Ulta Beauty like house brand Velvet Matte Lip Crayon in the shade Terrestrial. I do wear this pretty much most of the time when I first do my makeup, and then maybe I'll reapply later with something else. But this has been kind of going well. It has a little bit more of a peachy undertone than a pinky undertone. I do think I kind of prefer the pinky undertone. On my sheet here, I have it marked. So this is my progress down here. There we go. So just a little bit of a jump this time. I used this 11 times in the past month for a total of 31 uses. So I have had pretty consistent progress the whole time, making my way down the line there. This one I will reapply on occasion. I also like to maybe put a gloss on top of it or another lipstick on top of it to change the tone a little bit more. So that's something that, you know, kind of happens as I go through. But this one will also be in for a while. So, you know, we'll keep going with those for my long haul products. And then the items that I brought in February do have some rollouts. So let's start talking about those. The first one here is the Smashbox Reduced Redness Primer. This is like a little sample size primer. I really enjoyed trying this out. It's not the primer for me, I can say that. I've learned that I really don't like silicone primers, like the ones that give that slip. I know that they do great with filling in pores and like any texture, but I feel like they cause more texture in my skin. Like I just feel it kind of building up on my skin. I also feel like it doesn't help with oily skin as much as it says. Like definitely up front, it makes you look a little bit more matte, but as my oils come through, it kind of gets like slippery under there. So it's just not for me. I'm glad I only got the trial size instead of the big size. I did like having the green color, so maybe I can find a different primer, but for now, this primer is completely done, so I'm able to roll this out and put it in my empties. Also in February, I brought in 2 eyeshadows, so let's talk about those. The first one's in this little Z palette I have, and this is the shade In the Buff. This comes from my ColourPop Bare Necessities palette. So here is what we're currently looking like. It has a really nice pan in there already. My goal is to finish it up. So hopefully that'll be in the next couple of months here. I do use this to set down my primer every day. I also use it to help like blend or clean up the outer corner if needed. Brow bone highlight. It's just like a great utility eyeshadow for me. So this one I have used 9 times in the last month for a total of 26 uses since it's been in this project pan. So my goal is to finish it, so I'm not quite there yet, so this will be staying in, but it's very nice to have. I really like the ColourPop formula. It gives a little bit more coverage to the lid that I like, and you know, how to cancel it all out. It just is really nice. The other eyeshadow I brought in also comes from the Bare Necessities palette, but I've already popped it back in here. My goal for this one was to hit pan, and I did that. So this is the shade Taboo right here, and I did hit pan in there, as you can see. I used this as a liner shade. So I like to use dark shades. You can see I've hit pan on a few of them. As eyeliners, I use a flat liner brush from e.l.f. I wet it with setting spray. You can use water too. And I just line my upper lash line. It works really well. Adding that setting spray or water helps it stay in place, I've found, as opposed to just a dry powder. But I really, really like using eyeshadow that way. I used it 6 more times to hit pan, so in total 23 uses in the project overall. I have used it an extra 1 or 2 times since I've hit pan, but that's how many uses, 23 to actually hit pan in it. So rolling this one out, which is great, and I now have 6 shadows in here with pan. These 2 are popped out there in the little Z palette, but yeah, feeling pretty good about this. I really love this palette. Highly would recommend. But happy to have another pan. Okay, and then the last item from February that is also rolling out is this lipstick. This is the CoverGirl Honeyed Bloom Cream Lipstick. It's a nice kind of like bright pink. I can give a little bit of a swatch here. I like to layer this with the terrestrial. My goal was to use it, let's see here, 10 times. So I did reach 10 last time. I had 8 uses, so I used it the additional 2 to get to 10. So this will be rolling out, but I'm still going to leave it in my little daily basket to kind of use. Again, I really liked it paired with the terrestrial, this in the center of the lips to give it a little bit more pinkiness, and that looked really nice. So I'm sure I'll keep using it, but officially it's out of the project pan, so something else can roll into its place. Okay, so that brings me to the two items that I brought in last month. They're both staying in. The first is a blush. This is the Milani Romantic Rose Powder Blush. It's the lightest shade. So this is what it's looking like. The rose pattern is still intact, but it is starting to wear down on the top. It's less like, I don't know, textured. It's a little bit flatter. I don't know what words I'm trying to say. My goal with this is to use it 20 times. I've used it 10 times in the last month, so I'm halfway there. I have 10 to go to reach the goal. And again, I'm just trying to rotate through and make sure I'm using every blush, every highlighter in my collection, and as opposed to just letting them sit there and focus on just one, I want to be able to rotate through. I'm kind of doing the same with my lip products. So this is staying in halfway to my goal. It's a beautiful nude blush. If you're doing like maybe a bolder lip or a bolder eye, this is the blush I go to because it adds a little bit of flush to the cheeks, but it's not so intense that it takes away from the other focus area and it doesn't make me look clownish, you know? So that is going well. And the other item I brought in is a highlighter. This is from ColourPop, the Super Shock highlighter in the shade Lunch Money. So this is a golden highlight, really gorgeous. Little swatch of it here. This has been working really well on my skin. I really am happy with these Super Shock highlighters. So my goal for this is to use it 20 times as well. I've used it 11 times so far. It's just kind of been like the go-to highlight. I have it on today. Really gorgeous. So this is also going to be staying in. I've got 9 more uses to reach my goal, but definitely happy with this product, and it's not like I'm hate panning anymore. It's really nice to just be inspired and like the shades that I'm selecting for my different goals. Okay, so that brings me to the 3 new items I'm going to roll in. I've got 2 eyeshadows and 1 more blush to bring in. So the eyeshadows are both coming from my ColourPop Wild Nothing palette. I wanted to show them to you in here. I may pop them out at some point for my little Z palette. I already have one, actually. I already popped out into my Z palette, but this is what it looks like. I have the shade Coastline in my Z palette here. It's the shade that I'm using as my inner corner. It's this one down here. But I'm going to be rolling in the shade No Bounds down here, this dark brown, as my new liner shade. I have used it a couple of times because I can see that I, have a little bit of a mark, but not really a dip at all. So this is going to be the new liner shade going forward. My goal is to hit pan on it. From what I've seen with my other shades that I use as liners, it probably will take me between 25 and 30 uses to hit pan. So that is going to be rolling in. I may end up popping it out, like I said, putting it into this Z palette. The other shade from this palette that I want to roll in, so this palette has 2 Super Shock eyeshadows, Sultan and Spirited right here. So these 2 high shine ones. Because they're in a palette and not in a single like this that screws down, I'm worried about them drying out. So I want to use each of these 10 times. I'm going to start with Spirited though. So my goal is going to be to use Spirited 10 times. And then when I do that, I'll move into Sultan and use that one 10 times. So there'll be 2 different, goals. So I'm starting with Spirited. Spirited is a really pretty like topper shade. It does offer a nice sparkle, but there really isn't much like base color to it. So on my finger here, it has this really nice high shine. And when I put it down, it looks nice, but there really isn't enough impact for me to use it alone. See, like it's just, I don't know, there's not a lot of base there. It offers beautiful shine though. So I'm thinking that this would pair nicely. I'm working on the Natasha Denona Mini Retro palette, and I thought this could be a nice topper for the Galaxia shade that I'm panning. So that's how I want to try to start using it. I could also put down like other base shades and then this on top. But yeah, my goal is going to be to use it 10 times to make sure I'm getting use out of it and it doesn't dry up in this palette format. So those are going to be the 2 eyeshadows I'm bringing in this time from Wild Nothing. And then the last item I'm bringing in is another ColourPop product. This is the blush sticks. I have the shade Cool It, which is a little bit more of like a bubblegum pink. I love this cream blush. I love that it's in a stick format. It's just so easy to use. So it just scrolls up. You could, put it directly on your face. You could put some on your hand and then pick it up with a brush. I just put my small stipple brush right on the top here and picks them up and stipple it on. That gives me the kind of control that I like. And this comes with a decent amount of product in it too. So this is definitely gonna last me a while. My goal for this blush is to use it 20 times. So I have used it, a handful of times leading up to it, but from today forward is when I'm starting my count. But it's just beautiful. And I think this with the Milani one are good pairing to have in my collection, or my little makeup basket, I should say. So this one's a little bit more nude, this one's a little bit more pink, but they do both work pretty well for the makeup that I like. So that's going to be the new product I'm rolling in for the face category there. So that is my update for my project pan. I hope you guys are doing well with your projects. Let me know how I can track your progress down below, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, because I just love watching people work through the makeup that they already have. I think that project panning for me has gone through kind of like an evolution. I used to be so intense with it, and then I kind of got away from it, and now I'm back, and I'm just really appreciating that it helps me value like what I already have, and it definitely curbs my interest in buying makeup. Like, I do see things, especially eyeshadow palettes have always been a weakness of mine, where I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. But like, that's like 12 new shades I'd have to pan, and it's not that I actually have to pan them, but it just makes me kind of question and step back to say, do I really need that? Is it really unique in my collection, or do I have something similar? So also very excited to bring this Wild Nothing palette out. This is a beautiful springtime palette. If you don't have it, but you've been wanting it, I would highly recommend. The beautiful peaches, the green is really nice in here. It just reminds me of springtime. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. That is it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next one.